Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I think it's time for us to get started. Thank you all for coming to this special physics club. And my name is Karsten Heeger, chair of the department. And what I usually do at the beginning of the year is to welcome everyone. And the annual tradition has been that I introduce new people and go through the events of the year, highlights, and so on. Today's format will be a little bit different. I still wanted to welcome you, but I also wanted to use this time that we have to get your thoughts and comments on the department, because we have a very important event coming up for the department, which is a self-study and an external review. So I have a few slides to give you some of the highlights and to make some announcements. And then towards the end, I would very much welcome your comments on some of the important issues that we face in the department. So I called it State of the Department, a conversation and listening session. So as I go through it, I will actually plant a few questions, and you might want to think about if you have comments on it. So today is just the formal welcome, but the real physics welcome will happen on Wednesday. We have our pizza party at the Leitner Observatory. So everyone is welcome. There's pizza, there's music, there are games. And I hear this year there will even be some physics jackets. If you like food and a physics jacket, and hopefully the weather will hold up, come to the Leitner Observatory on the lawn at 5 p.m. on Wednesday. The physics department is really all about you. And this is why in the first announcement for the Special Physics Club, I said that really everyone is invited and should attend this. Staff, students, postdocs, faculty. This is what makes the physics department. And our goal is to make this a community that is diverse, inclusive, and where you feel like you have a home. And as many of you know, we developed a few years ago a statement of principles that we still share with everyone who joins our community, incoming graduate students, new faculty, new staff. And basically, it has 4 principles, simple principles, but that are really important to the community that we try to foster here. Respect, we respect everyone and their viewpoints, and we want to be treated with respect. Well-being is really important to take care of each other and yourself. Integrity, of course, that's obvious in an academic environment, but it's important to really embrace it and remind yourself that you are here to do your best work, and then the community that we build. And over the years, we have developed a set of activities supporting this. Several years ago, we wrote a DI action plan, which by now is probably 4 or 5 years old. But one of the questions that I also wanted to pose to you, since all of you are part of this community, is going forward, how can we really foster and improve belonging in physics? This is a continuous effort that does not stop with writing a plan or doing something. But if you have thoughts on what we can do better to make you feel at home, supported in the physics department, we want to know about this. Before I go on, I also wanted to remind everyone of a few key people in the department that you should know about, because they are the ones who really run everything here and make everything work. So we have the department management, Elena Sustak, Maria White, and Leila Meyer. And they are the ones who really can help you with everything that concerns operations of the department, building, and business questions. And if you wanted to get in touch with me, you can always send me an email. But the people who really know how things work in the chair's office are Jen and Karsten. So if you ever have an issue that concerns the chair's office, they are the first points of contact for you. And I also wanted to remind everyone about the amazing instructional lab team that we have. Stephen Irons, Director of Instructional Lab. Wave your hand, Stephen. Caitlin Hansen, I don't know if Caitlin is, she's teaching a lab, that's even more important. And Paul. Yeah, so if you need anything fixed or built for the teaching labs, Paul is, yeah, the go-to person. The other thing that they do is they work on new labs. So some of you may teach the 165 or 205 physics labs. So if you have ideas, talk to the faculty lead, but they are the ones who can also help implement it. They're also taking a lead role in the outreach effort of the department, and in particular the Halloween show that's coming up soon, and the Physics Olympics. And maybe, Stephen, do you want to make a quick plug for your Halloween show?
Sure. I sent around a sign-up sheet to grad student mail list and the I think postdoc mail list. I haven't sent one to the faculty mail list, but faculty, of course, are welcome to assist. But basically, it's going to be a sort of haunted hallway in the lobby area of the Marsh Lecture Hall, and then we're going to have a demo show in the Marsh Lecture Hall with, you know, spooky Halloween themed show with various presenters. We're going for more of a scripted, higher production value show. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and so there's lots to do in terms of like running a table in the lobby for the show, and then also helping out during the show. So looking for lots of volunteers and assistance for that. But next thing I have to do is convince the H&S to let us do the demos we want to do. So that's going to be the hard part. But yeah, taking any and all assistance. Thank you.
Okay, well, that sounds amazing. And in the spirit of inclusiveness, maybe you should also mail the faculty. They might say, I mean, they might want to be part of it. I can tell you last year when it was done in 59 here, I think it was, I came late to see what was happening. There were candles outside, everything was dark and spooky, and the room was packed and I couldn't even get in. But what I saw through the doors looked really great. So do get involved. It looks like a lot of fun. And then, of course, for our undergraduate program, we have 3 people that are key to this. I just wanted to remind everyone that David Poland is now our new director of undergraduate studies, and we have Daphne continuing as the undergraduate registrar. So those are the 2 key people for anything concerning the undergraduate program. And I believe some of you received an email soliciting your nominations and self-nominations for UGSAC, which is the Undergraduate Student Advisory Committee. And I encourage you to get involved. The benefit is we meet every month or so. You get free bagels, and you get to have input on activities and other things that the undergraduate program team organizes. So with regards to the undergraduate program, there's always a whole set of activities. I'm not going to go through this, but some of the questions we're asking ourselves right now in preparation for our self-study and department review is, what can we as a department and as faculty do to better recruit our majors, teach you critical skills, prepare you for graduate school or for other careers outside academia? And so these are questions that we're asking ourselves, and we really want your input, because if you have a bunch of faculty just thinking about this, we really have no idea or not so much what you think is important. And so you will be getting a questionnaire. I also would love to receive your input by email. So let us know what you think about our program and what we can do to actually make it better. And at the end, I'm also happy to hear your comments directly here. And then, of course, we have the graduate program, which is critical. It's a main part of the department. It's is the cornerstone of our research enterprise. And we have Daisuke as the Director of Graduate Studies. They are continuing. We have Rona Ramos as the Graduate Program Coordinator, Stacy Watts to keep everything in order. And then Professor Helen Keynes is helping us think about the admissions for the next year. So this concerns the admissions for the next year's class. And we also have a graduate student advisory committee, and we are meeting monthly, and we have had this now for 4 or 5 years, and it has really been an invaluable input to how we think about the graduate program, what we are aware of. So they're also your points of contacts. If you have anything that you want to feed back to us, obviously you can reach out to us directly or talk to your GSAC colleagues. That's an effective way in communicating with us. And again, I would encourage you to give us feedback on some of the things that might be on your mind. So here are some of the things, some of the questions I'm thinking about as we go through the self-assessment of the department. What can we do to better support you through your dissertation work? This could be support you through funding, this could be well-being, this could be mentoring. Let us know. There are many dimensions to it, but if you feel like something is missing in the department, I'd like to know about it. If you think some things are working well, let us know too, because that's also good to know. Are there things that we should be doing to prepare you for the next step in your professional career? Or other things that we can do to support you during your PhD studies? So I'm sure all of you have some experiences. Some of you are just starting, some of you are close to finishing. And if you have any thoughts on these questions, let any one of us know or reach out to me directly. And then we have the postdocs in the department, and Meg Urey is the Director of Postdoctoral Affairs, and this is also really important. Postdocs, they are not linked to the courses. They play a critical role in our research groups. They're the ones who mentor a lot of our graduate students, undergraduates. They do a lot of the research, and they have a particular issues of concern, and we want to know about this. And so we've also formed a postdoctoral advisory committee, and I think it's in the process of perhaps scheduling. Have they met already for this week? Not this term. So we're in the process of getting this going. There's also some turnover. If you'd like to get involved, please let Meg or myself know, and we would like to hear from you. And I just wanted to make a pitch that I think this week, it's the National Postdoc Appreciation Week. And so let's celebrate the postdocs in our lab, in our groups. So if you're working with a postdoc, go to them and say thank you, because they are the ones who really teach you all the critical skills that we faculty have lost. And the little thing that I can do is that we have done is we've organized a postdoc appreciation lunch. So there'll be swag, there'll be food tomorrow. So I hope that the postdocs will come tomorrow to the third floor to eat with us. And we wanted to say thank you. So I've mentioned this self-study and the physics department external review. So I wanted to share a few parameters with this. And the reason I wanted to do this is because the faculty are thinking about this. It's a big deal for us, but I think it's really important for the entire department to be aware of it, for students and postdocs to learn how these things work, and for staff to also have a chance to provide input and be part of this process. So an external review of the department happens roughly every 6 to 8 years. So it's not something we do frequently here at Yale. And the next one for us is scheduled on November 6 to 8 of this year. So if you see that some of us are getting busy towards the end of October, this is why it is. We'll keep everything running, but those are big days for us. So in preparation for this review, we're asked to write a self-study. And what this really means is we're asked to think and assess the opportunities and challenges we have in the physics department, what works well, what doesn't work well, and also describe priorities going forward. And then we produce a report, a document, which is confidential. It's internal to the department and the university administration. The review committee will see it, and then they come and meet with us here and will assess and give their evaluation. Now, we've built the agenda to provide the committee an opportunity to meet also students, postdocs, and staff beside the faculty. So there will be an email coming out, and we have to figure out exactly the format where you might get invited to meet with the review committee. If you care about this and if you want to provide your input, please respond, because we want to have them hear from you directly what you think about the department and what your thoughts and your concerns are. So there's an opportunity for staff, scientists, postdoc students to meet the review committee or members of the review committee and share your experiences. If you have good things to say about Yale physics, which I hope at least there'll be a little bit, tell them why, because it matters. The review committee will write a report that will go to the administration, and we also want to know what works well in the department. And I'm sure there are also things that won't work well, that need to get fixed. And we should also let them know about that. But if you have particular concerns, it would be really helpful to know about them in advance, just so that we can also think about how we might be able to address them and what a path forward would be. So my ask to you is, as part of this presentation and the self-study here, if you have issues with the department, let us know. We will give you input through your questionnaire, and you can also reach out to us, but it helps us get a full picture of where we are with the Yale Physics Department. So when you get an email, either from the chair's office or from Stacy as the graduate program registrar or from Daphne, please look at it. I promise it won't be a long questionnaire, maybe just 3-4 questions, but let us know what you think about Yale physics and what thoughts you have. Okay, so one of the things that the review committee will look at, for example, the research areas and what our research program looks like. And this is what we currently have. We have a pretty broad program of astrophysics and cosmology, AMO physics. We have a biophysics group. We have condensed matter, both theoretical and experimental. We do some gravitational physics, nuclear and particle physics in both experiment and theory. And then we have an effort in quantum science. And in recent years, we have also worked hard on engaging with the campus initiatives on quantum science. And we're working on data science and instrumentation. So the exercise that we're going through right now as a faculty is, we are looking at these research areas in the physics department and asking ourselves, do we have a good and broad representation that captures the exciting areas? Are there areas where we should focus on? And are there any holes in what we want to do in the physics department? And so here are just some broad categories that we currently have. And of course, we do this in experiment theory or both combined or even, observation. So the questions that I would pose to the department as a whole, not just our faculty, but also to you as students and postdocs, because you are the future and you're thinking about future directions. Are we missing any exciting opportunities? The faculty has discussed this, and some of the potential future opportunities that have arisen in our discussion are things like astrophysics and cosmology, more investments in biophysics, condensed matter experiments, theory, quantum AMO. And I should point out that these are in alphabetical order. I think I got them right. And there's no prioritization. So don't try to read anything into this order. It doesn't mean anything. And I also have ... because there could be other areas that we are adding in our discussions. But are we missing anything? Are there particular areas that you would be excited about if you thought about Yale physics? And one item that we are thinking about is, how do we best connect to the AI ML initiative on campus? You've probably all heard about it. Yale is now making big investments in machine learning and artificial intelligence. Many of us are using it in our experiments and our data analysis. And how should we position Yale physics to play a role in this? And again, we as faculty, we have our thoughts, but we would also love to hear your input, because you are the ones who are most of the time doing the analysis, using the tools, and thinking about whether this is something you want to do in the future. The Yale Physics Research is connected to a number of institutes on campus. And some of you may have seen the slide before that I show in grad student orientations. So we have faculty and research group that are connected to the work at Wright Lab, YCAA, the Quantum Institute, QBio, PEB, the Energy Science Institute, Systems Biology, and WUTSI. And if I look at where we play a key role, there are the top 3 institutes or centers where physics faculty have leadership, and we have a footprint in the others. And what I'd like to know is, what areas excite you? Are there connections to some of these institutes and centers that we have not realized? And I recognize that 40% of our graduate students often do research outside the Yale Physics Department. So we think about what should be Yale Physics connection look like to all of these campus entities. So how do we best collaborate with institutes and centers on campus is one of the questions we ask ourselves. Partnerships with other departments. So the institutes are not the only place where we try to realize our research. We have very close partnerships with other departments, and I name a few here: astronomy, applied physics, earth and planetary science, mathematics. And we have to ask ourselves, how do we best collaborate with these departments? What are some of the joint activities? So for example, currently some of our faculty have joint appointments. Graduate students are sometimes shared. So we have students from our department working in other departments and vice versa. We have cross-listed courses, and we have research collaborations. So we want to figure out what works well, what's the right level of engagement, and what do we want to pursue going forward. And one exciting development is that there is even a new department now on campus, which is a department for material science. It was created this summer in the School of Engineering. And I expect it will have connections to what we might be doing in condensed matter experiment and perhaps even on the quantum realm. But this is yet to be defined exactly what it is. While we're thinking about these things, I just wanted to share a couple of things in the context of what we are innovating and what's new. Here's one of the highlights. We have now a new course that's teaching instrumentation development, prototyping, and fabrication in the Advanced Prototyping Center at Wright Lab. And it's really formalizing just some of the work that has already been done there. And this is led by James Nickel. And Arina Tellis, one of the graduate students, is actually helping with this. And we also continue to add new outreach activities, such as summer programs and so on in the department. So there are a lot of things that the department does and new things all around. One of the favorite topics that we always think about is space and construction. And I'm sure all of you are tired of it, as I am. This is a picture from a couple of years ago, SPL construction. I think I showed this in 22 or 23 when I thought, okay, once this blue fence disappears or scaffolding, then we're going to be fine. But SPL construction continues. So I just wanted to warn you, there will be more SPL construction activities. The connector to KT is close to being finished. So we are taking bets of when we can actually use it, but it'll be soon. The Gibbs walk is now essentially finished, but there will be more activity, especially in the basement. So I just wanted to warn you, we are not completely out of the woods yet. We have new space. Last year, KT opened and astrophysics and some of particle physics in there. And it's great. It's nice new space. And we're co-located with our colleagues from astronomy. So that's really wonderful. And if you think that SPL is bad right now with some of the ongoing construction, I dare you to venture north to Wright Lab. This is a picture from a week ago or 10 days ago. And this was actually the good part, because now they've dug up everything in front too. So Wright Lab is right now undergoing massive construction. The program is ongoing. There's a lot of construction going around because basically they're trying to build a donut around the donut hole. And this is all related to the new physical science and engineering building. We have a Flickr page and updates with construction photos. The only thing I can say is there will always be a path to the front entrance, but it's your challenge to find it. So it really literally changes on a daily basis. And I think we've given up trying to put instructions on the website. You just have to try and follow the sign and not get run over by a truck. That is actually going on for the next few years. I think once it's finished, it'll be amazing and it'll be a great new lab space. There will be an instrumentation development center. We got new labs for Wright Lab because Wright Lab West will be demolished, and then eventually the new physical science and engineering building. So just to give you a sense of what's happening on the north end of Science Hill. So this is Klein Tower, of course. Here's Sloan, YSB, and Bass. This is Wright Lab, and eventually all of this will undergo some form of construction. It will be done in 2 phases. Phase 1 is currently underway, which is the addition of new lab space to Wright Lab to the east and the southern extension for the Instrumentation Development Center. This will be done in the next couple of years, and then after that, phase 2 will be the new physical science and engineering building. So once this is done, it will have redefined Upper Science Hill to the north end. So this is now a view that shows, it's a view of Science Hill from the east. So you have Whitney Avenue here, you have Edwards Street here, the Peabody is here, YSB, and then this northeastern corner will have a new green entrance to campus. There will be a new entrance to Wright Lab through Instrumentation Development Center. And then these blocks, they define the new physical science and engineering building. So it'll be a big complex that will, complete Upper Science Hill. So it's massive construction, exciting and challenging all at the same time. So this is what the architects show us the new entrance to Wright Lab will look like. The glass box will house the Instrumentation Development Center or part of it. And then these buildings here are the new physical science and engineering building. And of course, everything will be green and pretty, and the trees will have grown already. But once this is done, what it means for physics or physical science at Yale is potentially transformative, or we hope it will be transformative. So the entire building will house about 45 groups in quantum science from various departments, applied physics, the engineering school, 175,000 square feet of new lab space, new clean room facilities. So there'll be lots of exciting things going on. The one question we have to think about is, how does physics connect to it? And how can we take advantage of this a few years from now, 5-6 years from now, when this is actually done? So this is one of the questions that we also have to think about as part of our self-study. Here's just a slide of on the Instrumentation Development Center, which is a recommendation that came out of the USSC report and it's really a development, and it's based on the work that has been done in the Advanced Prototyping Center at Wright Lab. So some of the groups have used the APC, you know what it can do. The goal of this new center is to multiply the footprint, give it more capabilities so that we can do better instrumentation development on campus at Yale. So this brings me to one of the challenges that we have in the physics department. This is a slide that I often show. It's the footprint of Yale physics. So we have Sloan here, we have KT, YSB, Wright Lab, and yeah, the shape will change here. We have teaching labs in SCL, and we also have colleagues on West Campus. Eduardo and Stephen Konesny are in the Energy Sciences Institute, and we have some collaboration with systems biology. And one of the questions that we are grappling with as a department and thinking about the future is, how do we maintain cohesion and a community of Yale physics across at least 6 locations? And this is just not going to change in the next 5 to 10 years. And I would love to get your input. It is something that we've been struggling with. How do we make sure that everyone feels like they are part of the physics department and they're not just part of Wright Lab or a part of QBio? And also this whole question, what does it mean to be part of the physics department? And again, I'd like your input, students, postdocs, to that question, because I think it's really important for the future of Yale physics. And I was thinking about this recently when I visited some other universities and places, and you walk around campus and you see signs for the Department of Statistics, the Department of Physics, and there's always a unique location. We don't have this. So we'll have to think about in the future what it means to be part of the physics department. So any thoughts you have on how do we maintain our identity and shape our community would be very welcome. So that just brings me to opportunities and challenges. I mentioned that as part of the self-study, we have to think about what are the opportunities that the physics department has, what are our challenges. And this list is by no means comprehensive. As far as opportunities, the first thing I wanted to list are just the people. I think we have excellent people in the department. The staff are amazing. The students that we admit, postdocs, our faculty, that is terrific. Now the question is, how can we support them to do their best work? We have, and we're getting some new spaces and also some new lab spaces, but it comes with a pain, the pain of construction. There are some really exciting campus initiatives, AI/ML, instrumentation initiative. So how do we best utilize them for the physics department? And we have also seen some growth in our subfields. We've been able to make some faculty hires. Our graduate class in recent years increased a little bit. This year, it's a little bit smaller for a number of reasons. But in general, we have seen some modest growth. There are some real challenges, and here are just a few. For example, the continuous renovations and the construction impact, which I really don't want to minimize. I'm walking multiple times a day between SPL and Wright Lab. The physical distance is real. The construction impact is real. And when I run away from my office in Wright Lab because they're jackhammering there, I come here and they're jackhammering downstairs. So it's like, it is everywhere. And I absolutely feel the pain that many of you have also reported. Funding and funding for students remains a challenge in some subfields. We've had lots of discussions about this in recent months, and I wanted to acknowledge that. We are trying to find a solution. It is not easy, but I understand that some of you come to Yale Physics to do certain things, and sometimes because of the funding situation, it may not be possible. So we have to think about how do we best match students and research groups? How do we support what you want to do here? And then, as I mentioned, the distribution of the department across several locations which really goes into also how do we build community. And I talk to colleagues at other places, and they say, yeah, I walk from my office to the business office, and I come by my colleagues in astrophysics, and I also bump into the condensed matter colleagues at the coffee pot. And I just don't have that experience. And I think that's a real lack of interaction. We're trying to address this by creating deliberate interaction spaces. So the SPL will get an interaction space on the first floor sometime this year, but it is a challenge to be distributed. So the questions that I wanted to pose to you as a department and as members of our community is, what are the most pressing issues that face Yale physics? Some of them I probably have not mentioned here. And what can we do to better support you and the physics community at Yale? And with all of this, I hope that we can better position ourselves for the future. So I wanted to just wrap it up here and just open it up for any comments, questions, and thoughts that you might want to share. Thank you. Who wants to make a start? Any thoughts on any of these questions? Yes, Morgan. So I'm going to hand you a microphone, and we'll hand this around so that people on Zoom can also hear you.
Okay,
Yeah.
Can I get a confirmation from Zoom that you can hear me? All right, thanks, Jeremy.
Okay.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, hi, I'm Morgan Knazel. I work with Karsten on the Graduate Student Advisory Committee, and we've had very productive discussions on some of the things that graduate students are facing in the department, but I'd also like to bring them up here so that the rest of the department can kind of know and understand some of the things that are important to graduate students right now. So primarily, we are experiencing a lack of cohesion in our graduate studies coming from a variety of places. Some of this comes from core course loads and the core course content not being standardized across each year, and the goal of these courses being a bit unclear, especially for various students in different subfields. The emphasis placed on these courses varies wildly. And yeah, there's very little that I think stays, there's very little that can join different subfields together in that regard, and the importance placed on especially the first year. And maybe this relates back to what you were saying about connecting different subfields a bit more. There's no basically standard messaging on the first year, and that's something that we would like to see a lot more of. But what we did see this past year was standardization of summer funding, and that has proven instrumental, I think, to our success over the summer, as many of us were faced with difficulties finding research advisors. The summer funding was a blessing and was an incredible resource for a lot of people, and that would be something great to see as new cohorts enter the department. So yeah, I think I'd like some fellow graduate students to talk more about their specific experiences instead of me talking more broadly.
Okay, that sounds good. Before we go on, let me just say that Jen is taking some notes because we wanted to make sure we capture everything, and it's not just in my head because I'll likely forget. So Jen.
Yeah, so in regards to the standardization of messaging, Daisuke and you tell us very much that we need to focus on our classes. But then some of our PIs are giving us different messages explaining that we should probably prioritize research rather than that. And then we get these grades that vary. And then there are some PIs that your grades matter so much. The quals grade matters so much. And we just kind of feel like we're being told two completely different things consistently. And it's hard to find what actually is important, because we were told things like the quals aren't high stake. And now we're hearing that people are upset about our qual grades when we were told that they didn't matter that much. So these are some of the messages that are confusing us.
Yeah. No, I mean, let me just respond. Yeah, so I think you can probably, yeah, I have a mic, so you can probably still hear me. Yeah, so I completely understand your point about the messaging, that, yeah, we as a department and individual faculty have opinions on first-year courses, on the value of research, on the value of the qualifying event, and these different opinions may not be consistent, or they're clearly not consistent, and this is what you're reporting. So yes, it is an issue that we're aware of, and I think we need to think about how we handle this, given that different subfields and different PIs will place different emphasis on these things. But I understand the concern, yeah, that you report from the student perspective, how this sends, yeah, conflicting messages. Thank you.
Oh, I think someone's on Zoom. Yeah.
Okay, Jeremy.
I'd like to elaborate on that, because I think you get to a really important point, which is different PIs do have different expectations, and different visions of what the course load is supposed to be, and what quals are supposed to be in relationship to that. And like what you said earlier, in the discussion today, which is if 40% of students are doing research outside of faculty that is directly related to the department or have their primary position within the department, I think that's naturally going to occur. And I think from my perspective, if there was more emphasis in the first year on finding a faculty member who you can work with, and I understand we were a particularly over-enrolled year, so we had maybe a little bit extra challenges than the average year. But if there was more emphasis on the first year of finding a faculty member, and then really emphasizing that it is the person who you are working with who will shape how you look at quals or how you look at your course load, I think that'd go a long way in setting students up for success. And yeah, I think that's the key point that I'm looking for is in this first year, if there was a stronger emphasis on setting students up with faculty, and making sure that students understood that it is that relationship with those faculty members that would shape their first year experience, I think would go a long way. And especially given the fact that until halfway through the semester, I forget whether it was the first or second semester, our summer funding wasn't guaranteed. And especially with that stress that was on the first semester, if there really was that emphasis of saying, okay, we're going to help you guys find people to work with, and then that will shape sort of, again, what your experience will be and how you will emphasize your course load, your qualifying events, etc. I think, again, that'd go a long way for setting students up for success.
Yeah, thank you for those comments, Jeremy. Good. Any other comments on this topic or other topics?
Up there, Lauren.
Can you just pass the mic if you don't mind? That would be great.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I definitely agree with Jackie and Morgan that the emphasis that the department places on classes is very different than a lot of our potential PIs who expect us to focus very much on research, even in our first year. Even though we have funding for the first 2 years and we had funding for the summer, in order for a professor to hire us, they need to have seen us put our best foot forward, even like before we have funding from them, especially for faculty where funding is extremely limited, or, you know, maybe their research is very high stakes, maybe they're still trying to get tenure. They need to see us put our best foot forward in research. And I think with the emphasis on taking 6 core courses, even in our first year, we don't really have that opportunity in research. We don't have the opportunity to put emphasis on research. We don't have the time unless we have come in with a background where we already understand all the information being taught in classes, in which case, you know, why are we taking them? So I think that's definitely an important thing that the department needs to coordinate, I guess, with our professors to either guarantee us funding for longer or to maybe put less emphasis on courses if that's what our professors are going to expect.
Yeah, thank you. It's important.
I'll just say a couple of quick words about this. I think there's like really 2 problems here. One is like a lack of coherence with the messaging, and then which like because of like the messaging is like being disseminated from 2 different places from like the faculty level, students are going to get caught in the middle of it and are going to like without fail end up being the ones that like feel that tension. And so yeah, like I think that there being like a clear mismatch here is like necessarily going to be a student's issue. And I think that like this is exacerbated by the second thing, which is that like in the physics department, we're doing a lot of stuff in our first year. We're taking classes, we're teaching, some of us for the first time, and we're also trying to establish ourselves with the research advisor. And like Lauren was saying, like you really like need to be able to show up to lab to like impress an advisor in order to guarantee a spot, especially if they are more competitive than others for some reason or another. Huh? Oh. Yeah, so basically I think that like it doesn't feel like there's enough space in like the early part of the grad school experience here to meet the expectations that are being put on us from every direction. And so like what the answer to that looks like, I'm not sure. It's a very, very big problem, and surely one's been around for a very long time. So I'm not gonna try to give a potential answer in this space, but this is something that I wanted to make sure was voiced.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Yeah, so I see Yogesh has his hand up, but also Emily. So is this maybe connected to grad student issues? Maybe we'll take Emily first and then Yogesh.
Yeah, just a quick thing. As grad students, we get training on teaching through the Poorview Center, which I think is really great and helpful. And I think that a lot of professors might also find that helpful. So maybe if professors could also interface, there could be some interface there between the Poorview Center and, you know, teaching faculty in the physics department. That would be helpful for professors and for students.
Absolutely. So yes, there are workshops by the Poorview Center for faculty for how to design curricula and do various things. But
Yeah,
I get your point.
Those could be strongly recommended.
Yes. Make yeah.
Other departments.
Yes. So Meg was saying that the physics faculty actually have been engaged more with the Poorview Center than other departments and faculty from other departments. So but that may not be a high bar, but yes, for what it's worth. So, well, but we need Mike for this. So
I got it. I got it.
So get your exercise in. We need the mic. So
I've been a mic runner at conferences before. Don't worry.
Thank you, Meg. That's really useful information to know about the Poorview Center. I'm curious, like, do graduate faculty find the resources at the Poorview Center useful?
I think I made a mistake opening my mouth. I was going on, when the very first summer teaching institute was started at Yale, I think half the people there were physicists and the rest were biologists, which outnumber us by a huge number in terms of faculty and so on. So we've been a big uptake there. However, you said graduate faculty, and looking back, I think most of the people there were teaching undergraduate classes. So it's not clear to me graduate faculty do. But I do think, yeah, I'm not going to defend anybody, but I'll just say when I was a graduate student, I don't think a single professor ever helped me learn any physics at all. And when I was department chair, I remember the graduate students saying that half the teachers aren't very good. And I looked at them and I said, you mean half of them are good? It was like shocking to me. So anyway.
Okay, on that note of confidence in our teaching. I wanted to, so let's go to Yogesh, who has had his hand up for a while.
Thanks, Karsten. You guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
So I have a suggestion that goes on to the cohesion question that you raised. And this would be more work for the professors. But one of the things that I would love for our physics professors to do is to give intra-department talks about their research. So maybe one faculty a month, it would be great to just listen to what others are doing so that we can find some common ground and connect.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you for that suggestion. Yeah, we have been thinking about this, how to do this. And in fact, this fall in the Physics Club series, there will be a number of talks from our own faculty. And I would encourage all of you to come. There will be amazing talks. And I think maybe we can take this as a starting point. But thank you for the suggestion, Yogesh. We should definitely think about how to keep this up long term.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Can I? Okay. I just I like that suggestion, Yogesh, but I will popcorn back to the one before. So I think it's very important. I know that, okay, I have 5 minutes. I got this. I know that we always make comparisons with other schools. I feel like that's not fair, right? Like just because something doesn't work doesn't mean that we should be happy because ours works a little more if it's still not working overall. And I think that I try not to think back to my first 2 years, mostly because I don't remember it. And I think that says something about the mental state of us, of grad students in the first 2 years. And I understand that there's a lot of support that goes to teaching undergrads, but I think it would only be fair, really, that if we're being taught core classes, that those professors should at least have one workshop with the Poorvu Center, just like we are encouraged to take that teaching workshop with the Poorvu Center. I mean, teaching a core class is a big thing, right? I don't know, it's like a big responsibility. It's the first interaction that most students have with the department, most students have with, not all of them, right? But with higher level physics. And I feel like it should be met with the same level of dedication from the professor's side, not just, oh, well, we didn't have anyone else to teach this and you've taught it a bunch of times.
Yeah. So I thank you for the comment. I get your comment and concerns about teaching quality, and how we teach our graduate courses. Yes. Okay.
I had another comment about our courses, but I think Yogesh has something related to this.
Okay, Yogesh, is your hand still up from previously, or?
Yeah, it's from previous. I'll just lower that.
Oh, okay. Another thing about our core courses that I think also goes into the problem with cohesion that we're seeing is the lack of standardization across years. I know there are some core courses that have been taught by the same professor since forever ago, so obviously those are relatively standardized. And even though they come with their own problems, I think at least our TAs were able to be very effective because they took the same course previously and have that knowledge. Versus with courses that are not standardized at all, even though the TA may have received an excellent grade in that course previously, now they're TAing for a completely different course. I think that's kind of an unfair burden to put on those TAs. I think it's very confusing for the students who are first and second years because now we have absolutely nothing to compare that to if they're two completely different courses. We don't know what to expect. I think that also sort of played into our qual grades because if the professors have very different opinions on what to teach in the same course, then the questions that they're going to be asking on our quals are not going to be reflective of what we learned that year.
Okay, yeah, thank you. This comment about consistency and levels. Okay, let me see. So we've heard a lot of comments about courses, other items, aspects I mentioned about the departments, or maybe even a comment from the postdocs. I know the graduate students, this is very important to you, but I would love to also hear some other comments if there are. Postdocs are happy. Or they're working in the lab, I don't know. Which is maybe an indication of another issue. Okay. Any other?
Yeah, Karsten, Yogesh here, and quick questions about the shared electronics and or equipment center. Do we have any plans for such a thing?
So the new Instrumentation Development Center will include capabilities in mechanical design, prototyping, and it will include an electronics core. And the staffing and equipment of that electronics core is still being developed. So so there will be a shared, a electronics core available in about a couple of years.
Amazing, thank you.
Hi, I'm Nathan, third year. So earlier in your talk, you mentioned about expanding AI ML initiatives here in the department. So we've all seen the emails about AI at Yale. So what are the faculty's opinions on how to expand AI ML initiatives within our department?
Yeah, so I can perhaps share a few ideas that have been floated. I wouldn't say it's a full faculty opinion yet. It's active discussion. I think we recognize that it's something that in some form should be included in our graduate education, perhaps even creating a program of some sort. It's also clear that it's something that's very common now in all our research work, whether you are doing analysis, whether you're doing experiment, you see it everywhere. And I think we have to find a way to be able to teach it and stay at the cutting edge. So that could involve hiring faculty that have research topics in this area. It could mean having research scientists support to also support the research work. It could mean having a center or something that looks at how AI/ML is used in the physical science domain. One of the challenges that we have is we have a center or institute for the foundations of data science. We have people who think very deeply about some of the foundations, but how do you make the connection to actually what's happening in the physics research? And what's happening in astrophysics is perhaps different, or maybe not so much, from particle physics or from other areas. So I think we need to find ways to build expertise and diffuse it through our program at all levels. And we're right now thinking about ideas how to make that happen. So basically the challenge is how do we bring it into physics in a way that supports our activities and teaches some skills.
Okay.
Hi, Sid, first year, or Siddharth, first year. So you mentioned there's a big funding related push like from Yale to like add these machine learning type like things. Has something like, I don't know, like a local grant or like some way for people to like apply for specific projects or funds like within labs been considered? Because I think one big barrier to like labs specifically adopting these sorts of techniques is it takes a lot of extra effort for a grad student or a postdoc or faculty to look into one of these and then apply it to their particular subfield. So like something like a local incentive like that could help more specific labs get into this type of field. But I don't know if that was something that you guys were looking into or considering.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So we're still trying to fully understand the scope of what Yale will support going forward. But I can tell you, if you, your group, your PI, and you have an idea of how to use it, let's have a conversation about it. I think the message that I've received is we should really be proactive in proposing things that incorporates AI and ML in our teaching, in our research. I can't guarantee that any or all of your ideas will be funded, but if you have a specific problem, a project, or a way that it would help you and your group get into AI ML, let's think about it if we can have a little proposal or something like this. And this semester is a really good time to collect all of the ideas from the physics department and put them forward to the administration.
Thank you.
Jeremy.
I think a potential first step would be to send out surveys to see where the techniques are already being used, because they are. Like whether it is optimization techniques through QBio, or through other departments. These techniques are like already being used pretty widely. Whether, optimization, machine learning, data compression, all these different things that all fall under the ML umbrella, and then sort of the AI umbrella on top of that. And it'd be great to get consensus across the department of where different people are using it and what techniques they're using, because it really is a broad umbrella of techniques and approaches. So I think it'd be nice for people within the department, even though across different subfields, to understand where common techniques are being used that involve machine learning and AI.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for the comments. If I understand you correctly, you were really interested in knowing who else is using some of the techniques and where there could be common ground between different research groups.
Yeah, I think my assumption is with many of the groups doing large amounts of data processing that are the foundation of ML, there'll be a lot of crossover there. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's the assumption. But because we're in different subfields, even though we have this large computational bridge that connects groups, we don't really see too much of that.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting idea. Maybe we can organize something where different groups can share what they're doing. Yeah, okay. Meg is mentioning that there's a data science seminar in Astro that would welcome talks. So we'll follow up on this. So I recognize that we are past the hour, but yeah, Daisuke, a comment on.
Also in the process of setting up a physics this semester. So if you're interested in this topic, this is a good place to maybe come and share what everybody's working on. Maybe the fall semester is going to be about gathering, sharing what you're working on in this AI ML space in physics. And maybe we'll go from there, and hopefully we can gather some group that can have a common ground and we can start work together.
Okay, very good. Okay, last, yeah, absolutely. I always love to hear some good comments too.
One thing that I think the now second years really appreciated was the standardization of office hours and study halls to ensure that they didn't overlap with classes. We really appreciate that Daisuke was able to do something like that, as well as kind of streamlining the tutoring services that grad students have now. And apart from that, being able to take our quals in separate parts, that changed. And a lot of students really appreciated that because now we could focus on learning the content instead of just pushing through it. Yeah. So we really appreciate those two things.
Very good. Very. glad that this worked out. Thanks to Daisuke, Stacy, and everyone for making it happen. Terrific. Any last comments for public session here? If not, I wanted to thank you all for coming. I'll send around the slides, and please, if you have further thoughts, don't hesitate to reach out. This is now the time to let us know what works, what doesn't work, and we will seriously and carefully consider it. We want to make this a better place. So thank you all. Have a good semester.